Welcome to Sakshi TV, Manasakshi. I'm your host Advait Bigala, and today we will be talking about the IPL Dhamaka, cricket in US, and many more topics. So today we have three guests with us, as three special guests: Mr. C. Venkatesh, commentator and sports analyst; Mr. Venu Palaparthi, co-founder of Dream Cricket and New Jersey Stallions; Mr. Venki, former Atlantis Regional Secretary, USA Cricket. So Mr. Venu, Mr. Venkatesh, and Mr. Venki, thank you for joining us on today's show.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us on the show.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure. So first, I will be talking about today's match. I'll be talking about one match because today's Saturday we have two matches. So first was the Rajasthan Royals versus the Royal Challengers Bangalore, the Clash Royale, Clash of Royals. Okay, so the Rajasthan Royal had a different opening pair today of Robin Uthappa and Ben Stokes. There's still a question here: why is Ben Stokes sent up the order? Because he's never played the order in any cricket format before. But Robin Uthappa has the experience playing for KKR as opening up the batting with Gautam Gambhir in the olden days. But now Robin Uthappa is back as an opener, but for the Rajasthan Royals instead. And that kind of worked out for him because he missed opening, playing a very good knock of 41 runs in 22 balls. Later on, the Rajasthan Royals had a good knock from Steve Smith, the captain, scoring 57 runs in 36 balls. So Rajasthan Royals were able to score 177 runs with a loss of 6 wickets in 20 overs. The Royal Challengers Bangalore, this match was slightly out of their hands at the start because of the partnership of the particular Aaron Finch. It did not work out because both the batsmen were unable to strike very high. Virat Kohli, on the other hand, was still there, trying to put some hope for the Royal Challengers Bangalore, but he unfortunately got up because of a superb catch of Raut Vetia towards the end. And we have Mr. 360, AB de Villiers, towards the end, hitting six sixes, making sure that RCB win this match. It was a close call, and he scored 55 runs in 22 balls, and it went to the last over. RCB's final score was 179 runs with a loss of 3 wickets in 19.4 overs. So, Mr. Venki, this question's for you. As we all know, that grass is and the pitch is the main factor that controls a cricket game in general. So, as grass is a crucial factor, can you elaborate on the grassroots problems which are in the US grounds?
Yeah, so right now the US grounds are all, if you know, AstroTurf and regular turf. The regular turf is like, where we have an international level venues when you see. But most of the US grounds, you see AstroTurf, where you can expect the bounce exactly, like it is always you're going to get a very good bounce. So these grounds, the problem is they always predict that ball is going to come in a very good bounce. But when we go to an international games or when we go and play in the turf games, especially the under 19 pre-qualifiers last time, whatever happened. So we had very less experience with the actual turf grounds because of the lack of availability of those in the US. So most of the teams, they are playing either mat grounds or at the AstroTurf grounds. So that is the reason I would say that, one of the grassroots issues that we have at the infrastructure level for the grounds.
Yes, understood. Because as we all know, the ball bounces very well on the bat. Because when it comes onto the bat, it's very good. Because it's kind of difficult for the US players to face different conditions once they go play on different turfs and different grounds. Because once the ball comes onto the bat, once they're used to that, once they play at international level, when the different conditions, suppose if there's a slow wicket, it'll be hard for them to put onto the bat. So I understand what you're trying to do, the problems. So, Mr. Venu, this question's for you. So in USA, as we all know, there are a lot of minor cricket leagues going on so that cricket in USA can be encouraged. So I have heard that you have your own team which is taking part of a minor cricket league. So can you give us a few insights on your team, such as where the players are from? For example, if they're from India or West Indies, and can you specify on how they performed in your zone?
Sure. So yeah, my team is New Jersey Stallions. It's a representative team for New Jersey. It's one of two teams from this part, and we play in the Eastern Conference. All right. So where are the players from? We have several players who have played first-class cricket or are continuing to play first-class cricket in the Caribbean. So we have Dominique Ricky, for example, played under 19 for Guyana. We have Gavin Brown. We have Lorraine Williams from Jamaica. So we have a bunch of great cricketers from Caribbean who now happen to live in New Jersey or New York. And then there are a bunch of cricketers who are from, South Asian heritage. So we have one Sri Lankan, Yasit Pereira, who's of Sri Lankan heritage. We have several of Indian heritage who live in the US. And we have some Telugu kids as well. So we have Sai Mukamala, who played in Hyderabad. He's also played here for many years now. He plays on USA under-19 team. He's on our team. We have Raymond Ramratan, who also represented the US. He's on our team. So we have a bunch of players. A lot of them are actually very young. So that's the type of team we have. That's the culture we want to build for New Jersey Stallions. Your second part of the question, I think, was how did we fare this year, right? We had an unfortunate COVID outbreak, and it affected the team. So what happened is in our zone, 2 teams were initially affected by COVID, and so some of the games got rescheduled. And then when they resumed, our team had a COVID incident. So now we couldn't play the last 2 games. So totally, we only played 4 games, and during the 4th game is when somebody tested positive. And so we had to kind of the energy went down right through the game. But if you think of the first 3 games, we lost 1, won 2. I think we finished 3rd overall, despite, not playing enough games. Yeah. So that, but you have to understand this minor league cricket, this year was an exhibition series. It was just to get team owners to get a little accustomed to the format, to set up entities, to, write contracts, things of that nature, you see. So, I think if you look at it in retrospect, it was great. It was instructive, and we're, going to be having a great season next year.
Yeah. Going back to your question on players from different areas throughout the world, one good part about cricket in US is that players from different cultures come together, build up a chemistry into the squad, which is one interesting thing to talk about. And as you've mentioned, you have Caribbean players from Sri Lanka and India itself, and some local players in US. It's amazing to see that. And due to the fact of COVID-19 this year, a few teams not able to play due to the positive cases in the teams. I know it's unfortunate, and that happened for IPL either, because all the players are still kind of getting back in form. So now cricket going on throughout the world, any player who is there still are trying to get back in form. So hopefully the your team gets back in good form soon and they can win the tournament.
Thank you.
Yeah. So next question is to Mr. Venkatesh. So this is an IPL based question. Why do you think CSK are unable to perform as well as they did in the previous years? As you all know, CSK has qualified in every single playoff whenever they participated. And one question, is it because of the change in pitch as this year's IPL is in UAE, or is there any other factor affecting that?
There are so many reasons. Chala reasons actually. First of all, to start with, the absence of Suresh Raina, అతను వెళ్ళిపోవడం ఒక కారణం, హర్భజన్ సింగ్ జాయిన్ కాకపోవడం ఒక కారణం ఉంది. And they were affected by COVID also. Some of the players and others, members of the team, they were affected by COVID also. అది కూడా ఒక రీజన్. బట్ ఓవరాల్ గా ఏంటంటే ఇట్ ఈస్ అన్ ఏజింగ్ టీమ్. ఒక్క స్టేజ్ వరకు ఓకే, బికాస్ మోస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ది ప్లేయర్స్ టేక్ ఇన్ ద కేస్ ఆఫ్ మహేంద్ర సింగ్ ధోని ఆర్ షేన్ వాట్సన్, వాళ్ళు ఏ ఫార్మ్ ఆఫ్ క్రికెట్ లో ఆడట్లేదు. వాళ్ళు ఓన్లీ ఏంటంటే దే ఆర్ ప్లేయింగ్ ఫ్రమ్ ఐపీఎల్ టు ఐపీఎల్ అంటే చాలా కష్టం అవుతుంది. మోస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ది క్రికెటర్స్ ఆర్ వెటరన్స్ యాక్చువల్లీ. అది టు సర్టన్ ఎక్స్టెంట్ అది వర్కౌట్ అవుతుంది, బట్ బియాండ్ ఏ పాయింట్ యూ కెనాట్ క్యారీ అవుట్ విత్ ద సేమ్ టీమ్. దే హావ్ టు ఇంజెక్ట్ సమ్ యూత్ ఫ్యాక్టర్ ఇన్ ద టీమ్. సో ఈ సీజన్ లో అది ఆ డిఫరెన్స్ బాగా కనిపిస్తుంది.
Okay. So based on what you said, I can also understand, because for the past few years, CSK, the team, has been called the Dad's Army. And as we all know, everyone's age and up to an extent. But still, the morale of the fans of CSK still believe that they can go on top. But then for other players, other analysts and other people who are not huge supporters of CSK can understand that still that CSK don't have people who are playing and performing that rarely in the international level. And as per I know, because CSK has been performing very well comparatively, because if you see players like Shane Watson, MS Dhoni, and other players like Faf du Plessis, who are all old, Harbhajan Singh, you won't expect them to play very well, even though they don't have that much international experience, but they're still playing very good to this day and still taking part of this Dream 11 IPL 2020. So the current Orange Cap leader is KL Rahul, scoring 448 runs and being the captain of Kings 11 Punjab and still performing very well. He's still not able to take his team to wins, and only because of different reasons. His team is performing very well, but still he's not able to do that. But then still, hitting Orange Cap. And ironically, the second position is to his opening pair, Mayank Agarwal. So both these players are the opening pair of the Kings 11 Punjab. Both these teams contesting they're fighting with each other for the top position, the orange cap, which is a prestigious award to win. So next on the purple cap is none other than Kagiso Rabada. As we all know, Kagiso Rabada, an amazing talent. Today he got the record, the fastest man to reach 50 wickets in IPL. And so far he's only played 9 matches and he got 19 wickets, which is amazing to watch because already getting 19 wickets is very crucial for Kagiso Rabada. So next, underrated players. I'll be talking about the underrated players who can have a good potential in this year's IPL. And I see Yashasvi Jaiswal, the under-19 player, who still needs to get opportunities in the Rajasthan Royals to play, but still is lacking time. But still, he'll take his time and go on. Priyam Garg, he's already showed what he can do with the Sunrisers Hyderabad against the. If everyone remembers, the knock against the Chennai Super Kings with Abhishek Sharma, both the two youngsters playing very well for CSK. So, Minister Venki, your question was this. So apparently there's a word going on that there's a chance for the Rajasthan Royals.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, there's a chance for Rajasthan Royals, Chennai Super Kings and Sunrisers Hyderabad, who have potential to take the 4th spot instead of KKR in the IPL, unless KKR does not fare well towards in the end of the tournament. So in these 3 teams, Rajasthan Royals, Chennai Super Kings and Sunrisers Hyderabad, who do you think can take the 4th spot and why?
Okay, I'm a hardcore fan of SRH. I would not call out any other team name, but yeah, so SRH obvious I would say, but we had few shortfalls recently, even losing with the Chennai Super Kings. That's what actually little backed us, but we are waiting for tomorrow's game to see. I think after tomorrow's game, we will know more about the SRH future.
So I'll be going to the next question right now. So, Mr. Venu, this next question is for you. So what is the opinions of Indians who live in America on the IPL? Do they follow cricket usually or do they not? So what is the percentage of people who do follow and who do not in US?
That's a great question, Advait. So, as you probably know, US is the 3rd largest market for cricket in general, right? For watching cricket. And if you've heard of Willow TV, so they've been streaming cricket for roughly 20 years now. And a lot of people now are able to access that stream because now it's available on your mobile phones. So what you have is a lot of Indians actually, whatever they're doing, they actually watch IPL on their mobile phones. And, and they have their favorite teams. And it's just like anywhere else in the world. If you're a cricket fan, you're going to find a way to watch it, right? So that's what's going on here. If your second question was like, how is that impacting, cricket? It's definitely positively impacting cricket because, just like many of us in India, we became fans of cricket after we watched cricket broadcasts on TV in, especially '83 World Cup, right? So it's the same effect here. As more and more people watch cricket, they want to play cricket, and that's what's going on.
That's great. And one more thing, I also remember once whenever I used to visit US during the IPL season, I would always use Willow TV. I know Willow TV is one of the main broadcasters of cricket events going on in India or throughout the world. So that's a good thing for the people in US because even if they want to follow cricket, they want to watch it live. Seeing the score won't be enough. Watching it live gets the true feeling and the true feeling of sportsmanship and being a fan. So next question is to Mr. Venkatesh. So who do you think is the best underrated player in this season of Dream 11 IPL?
I think this is a toss-up between Devdutt Padikkal and Ravi Bishnoi. But I am a big fan of this man, Ravi Bishnoi, because he's a leg spinner. He has got a lot of future and he's picking up wickets. Devdutt Padikkal was good initially, but he tapered off a bit. Of late, he's not getting those big runs. But Ravi Bishnoi is still doing very well. And it was a tribute to his talent that De Villiers was held back in the last match when they played Kings 11 because De Villiers was suspect against leg spin ball. So that was a great, that goes to the credit of this young bowler, is it not?
Yes, agreed. Because as we all know, Ravi Bishnoi is one extreme talent playing for the under-19 World Cup last time. That's why the Kings 11 Punjab picked him up. And this year, if you see in the auction, Kings 11 Punjab tried picking the youngsters. They even tried for Priyam Garg in the auction, but unfortunately, they lost the auction, and Sunrisers were the ones who picked up Priyam Garg. So Kings 11 Punjab, Ravi Bishnoi is definitely that X factor for them because they're using him as a main bowler. If you see other teams like Rajasthan Royals, Yashasvi Jaiswal was the main person who everybody talked about in the Under 19 World Cup. They should not use him frequently. And Priyam Garg is also not, he has played very good quite few times, but not as much as Ravi Bishnoi has. So the purpose of buying Ravi Bishnoi has came to work. And I agree with you. Devra Padikkal is still working on his batting, but I feel for his first debut season, he's doing very well, getting that half century in his debut match. So Mr. Venki, this question's for you. So in USA, there are efforts being made to make sure that cricket is well known and played by many throughout the country, and ICC is also trying. For example, ICC has allowed the USA cricket national team to participate for World Cup qualifiers and World T20 qualifiers throughout, and thanks to the help of ICC. So is there anything in particular or any support needed from ICC which is not there in cricket in US?
Okay, so recently USA Cricket actually laid out its foundation plan, the first time ever in inter-USA history. It is 3 years down the road what they are going to do. In one of them, out of there are 6 important tasks. One of them is deliver financial stability to the USA Cricket. So the objective is how do we get the revenue from not only from the the engaged audience, it is also from the ICC. So that is one of the objectives that is there in the current USA Cricket. But for that, first we have to show that there is a lot of audience is there, a lot of interest in the cricket is there, and a lot of we have to do very good in our international games as well. So we have to show that development. Then ICC will definitely come forward and do it, and then USA Cricket is one of their objective is. For the next 3 years, 2021 is going to be one of the toughest, for the entire USA cricket, whatever the plan that they have made. So they are expecting a lot of support from ICC. But to get that support from ICC, they are also trying to bring whatever is a prerequisites to get the better funding from the ICC, whatever the prerequisites, they have added them in their plan, growing engagement, increasing the participation, and then build the infrastructure. So many things that they have already laid out.
Yeah, that's very well noted. And thank you for those insights on ICC and US cricket. So, Mr. Venu, this question's for you. How is cricket infrastructure and what are the future ventures in your zone?
So the cricket infrastructure, as we touched on a little while ago a bit, is we do have some grounds. We have, but the grounds are inadequate. Okay, so that's a huge challenge. We have to upgrade those grounds and go into potentially putting in natural turf, right, which is going to help them in international competition. We need to have dressing rooms, changing rooms, as they're called. We need to have adequate accommodations for audiences so they can come and watch. We need a lot more indoor academies, right? I have one that is a high performance indoor academy in New Jersey, but we need a lot more because, New Jersey is a large state and you need people to have access to awesome facilities. Now, what are the plans to further expand infrastructure, right? What we need to do over the next 4 or 5 years, and I'm personally investing a lot of money and resources into this, is we need to obviously commit to breaking ground on turf wickets. And I am personally committing to put in 3 turf wickets within the next 5 years, 2 as early as next year, right? So that is super important. Second is we need to have a lot more coaching, a lot more coach infrastructure. So we are absolutely working on that. We went from 1 coach 3 years ago to roughly 7 coaches this year. We need a lot more because in order to get scale and to deliver cricket to a larger number of people, you need a lot more coaches. So these are, at the high level, right? So you need grounds, you need coaches, and then you need, lastly, indoor infrastructure so that during the off season, during the winter months, all of these people who are playing cricket have somewhere to go and play their cricket and keep updated, right? That's important. So that's what we're trying to do here.
Understood, Mr. Venu, because as we all know, these future plans can help very well for the cricket infrastructure. As you talk about the coaching and the turfs and building up all these are very important for the future of cricket, and especially in USA. So people can be encouraged in making sure that these things go on throughout. So, Mr. Venkatesh, this is a question for you. So, what is your thought on Sunrisers batting? This year, is there support from the middle order? As we all know, last year there was a lot of complaints on its middle order. And how is Warner and Bairstow's partnership this season?
I think they are totally dependent on their opening partnership between Bairstow and Warner. But like last year, we are not getting the same kind of partnership, opening partnership from these two. I think even Williamson also, I think he played only one good knock. After that, he didn't do that well. So they are having a lot of problems with the middle order. The youngsters did well in one match against Chennai, but after that, we didn't get good performances from the youngsters also. So they have a serious problem with the opening partnership as well as middle order. Particularly the form of their captain, Warner, is a bit worrying because he is not as fluent as he was in the last year or before. So that is a real problem for them.
Agreed, because there's one point also on David Warner, because if you see every match when David Warner opens, he has a weakness when you cramp the ball towards him. And that's his weakness. And he has to work on that because every bowler, they're confident that it'll affect his game style. Because if you see any bowler bowling in the power play against David Warner, they're cramping the ball towards him. So it's still, that also affects the game a lot because cramping the ball to David Warner, that's his weakness. And others like Johnny Bairstow and Kane Williamson are trying to find their form. And we still have youngsters who have played occasionally very well sometimes. And still, if this frequent batting goes on from every player, if every player plays good, I think Sunrisers has a good chance in going ahead further on in the season, and instead of losing their hopes now. So there are common questions right now going on. So I'll be asking each and every one common questions. So there's this common question I'll be asking: who are your top 4 teams who are going to qualify this year's playoffs? So I know half the season is done, and it might be easy to answer this question. So first, Mr. Venu, tell me, who do you think are the top 4 teams who are going to qualify for this year's Dream 11 IPL 2020?
I think we covered the top 3. The top 3 are practically set in stone. I think Delhi, Mumbai, right? I do believe Sunrisers has a chance to dislodge KKR, right? And I think the stack is properly organized right now. Just the 4th place is in question, and I think Sunrisers definitely, I'm a Hyderabadi at heart.
Okay, so Mr. Venki, in your opinion, who do you think are going to be the top 4 teams to qualify?
One is, I think, right now in the current situation, I see that, Mumbai Indians, Delhi Daredevils, KKR, and then we see that, we hope for SRH, and then, but actually I see Royal Challenge Bangalore is also doing good, and then, that's what I think. So I know the 3, but I assume that the 3, what I assume, it's going to go there, but 4th one is very tricky one here.
Yeah.
And I wish SRH comes over there.
Yeah, hopefully, because as you all know, Sunrisers is our home team, guys, and we all want Sunrisers to win and make sure that they at least qualify for the playoffs, because for the past 5 years they've been qualifying many times and more frequently. So, Mr. Venkatesh, what's your opinion? Who do you think are the top 4 teams to qualify this year?
I think 3 teams are comfortably placed: Delhi, Mumbai, and of course Bangalore. It's a no-brainer with the top 3 places, of course. But 4th place, I think almost all the teams are in the race. But KKR and SRH has a better chance, but you can never discount Chennai. Chennai is, of late, has been doing well. In the reverse fixtures, they are doing really well. So you can expect something special from Chennai in the second half of the league. So these 3 teams, I think they have a chance. But RR and KXIP, I think they're almost out of the top.
That's true, because with the 4th position now, there's chances. To be honest, if Sunrisers lose tomorrow matches, then still Sunrisers, CSK, and RR will be in the chase. If Sunrisers win this match, they'll have that leading edge against the Chennai Super Kings and the Rajasthan Royals to make sure that they qualify for the playoffs. So let's hope for the best, and we hope Sunrisers will qualify for the playoffs. If they beat KKR tomorrow, they'll directly go 4th on the table. And if they beat it, there'll be a huge margin, a huge difference, because KKR will be winning 4 matches, losing 5 matches, just like the Sunrisers, winning 4 matches, losing 5 matches. So based on that, Sunrisers has a better run rate on the table compared to KKR. And KKR has a new captain, Owen Morgan. So let's see how that also plays out. So one final question to all of you. Mr. Venu, Mr. Venki, Mr. Venkatesh. I'll go one by one. Who do you think is going to win this year's IPL? So first, Mr. Venu.
I'll start with a question that you didn't ask, right? One thing I'm a little conflicted on, and I think Venki will agree, is there is an American player for the first time in the IPL. His name is Ali Khan, and he is in KKR. Okay, so I'm conflicted. I do want KKR to stay in the race, and I want Ali Khan to play. So it also answers your previous question that was addressed to, I think, Venkatesh. Who's the most underrated player? I think Ali Khan is one of the most underrated players right now in the IPL. He performed extremely well in CPL, and I think he deserves a chance to play for KKR, and I hope that he makes a lasting impression. Now, having said that, the more practical side of me says, it's probably going to be Mumbai Indians this year.
Okay. So, Mr. Venki, in your opinion, who do you think will win the IPL this year?
Okay, so what I would say that, I'll agree with the Venu. Entire USA cricket was looking at Ali Khan to play minimum one game. That would change, that would motivate a lot of cricketers from the USA cricket, and we all wish and we prayed. But unfortunately, because of his injury or fitness, something which I heard like last week, he is not eligible to play or not fit to play right now the game.
He is not
underrated, I believe. Am I right?
KKR because of injury.
Yeah, he's in KKR.
Yeah.
He has not joined KKR because of injury.
Yeah, because of the injury. But everybody was actually looking for him, that would have changed a lot of things in USA cricket, even if he played one or two games and then did, one or two wickets. Everybody was actually, when he was drafted, everybody was thinking like, oh, wow, we're going to do something. I agree with you, Venu, on that. Yeah, but actually, practically to see now, Mumbai Indians and Delhi Daredevils, they have a very good chances. That's what I believe.
So next, Mr. Venkatesh, this is the last question, and on IPL, it's the same thing. Who is going to win this year's IPL?
It is very difficult to predict the winner in T20 format, but I think on current form, I will go with the defending champion Mumbai, because they are looking like the champion side that they are, and Delhi will give them a tough fight. And the dark horse happens to be RCB. RCB under Virat Kohli is very, very keen to win the title this time, and they have that Superman in their team, AB de Villiers.
Yeah, Mr. 360.
On his own, single-handedly can win matches. So we cannot really count them out.
Yeah.
So these three teams have the chances, but I think I will go with Mumbai again. Mumbai is looking very strong in all departments.
That's true. Anyone can agree with that. So I know most of you said Mumbai Indians. And just to give some extra news to everyone, Chris Gayle and Ben Stokes are back in action. The universe boss and Ben Stokes, the England man of the match winner of the finals in the World Cup. And that's it for today's news. Thank you for watching Sakshi TV. And thank you, Mr. Venu, Mr. Venki, Mr. Venkatesh for joining us on today's show. It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you, Advait, for having us.
Thank you all.
So thanks once again for watching Sakshi TV. Mana Sakshi. This is Advait Bigala, your host, signing off.